Alrighty, guys, we're back for Urabrask Storm, and this is a Murders at Karlov Manor standard brew, and I'm Red Cat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked, rockin' all for Urabrask. This is a 4-mana, 4/4 legendary creature rocking that first strike. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Urabrask deals 1 damage to target opponent, and you add a red mana as well. Beautiful stuff, man. Also has that potential to flip into the great work. We're not going to take the time to go over that right now, but that definitely happens in these style of builds. So yeah, good stuff, man. I have a whole bunch packed in to work well with that Urabrask. Of course, a whole bunch of burn. 3 lightning strikes, 3 shocks, 4 play with fires, 3 end the festivities. That'll come in handy against Boros, let me tell you. Also have other stuff that'll work well with Urabrask. Cards that replace themselves is going to be important in Storm style decks. So like Ancestral Anger has that bottom ability, draw a card. Outside of that, Ancestral Anger is going to be terrific in here in general because like a card we don't mind discarding to other cards. For example, we have like Charming Scoundrel, which could help us filter. Also, Charming Scoundrel generates treasure tokens, which is going to come in handy in these Storm style builds, especially when paired with cards like Demand Answers too. And as additional cost to cast this spell, you can sacrifice an artifact, so it could be like treasures, or you just discard a card. And again, Ancestral Anger is not a bad one to go ahead and discard because we don't mind having extras in our graveyard. So replenishing our hand with Demand Answers is one way to keep stocked up, but we also have Big Score here on the top end. Just another terrific card. Like, you're not mad at all to drop 4 mana on a Big Score. When you have Urabrask on the board, getting 2 treasures is huge, dude. Honestly, you could really spiral out of control if you go Big Score while Urabrask is out there, get some treasures, get some red mana, and then you just keep on spamming stuff out of your hand, keep your hand nice and stocked, keep on rolling more cards into your hand with cards like Demand Answers. Like, I'll tell you what, I really do believe that we can get that Storm rolling, dude. Another key factor in this deck is actually going to be Flick a Coin as well. Only 3 of them because it is 3 mana, but at instant speed it deals 1 damage to any target, create a treasure token, and draw a card. All of that is so good in a Storm style deck. And again, yeah, if you have that Urabrask on the board and you're dropping Flick a Coin, you're just not mad at all, dude. So working with all the extra treasures, we're generating Crime Novelist as a 2-of. It's a 3 mana 1/3. Whenever you sacrifice an artifact, you put a +1/+1 counter on Crime Novelist and add a red mana. Beautiful. So each treasure essentially tapping for 2 red mana in this deck when Crime Novelist is on the board. Last creature of the build 2, Hearth Elemental here on the top end. It's going to get pretty cheap to cast this down. A 4/5 body is pretty good. Also has that adventure side. Discard your hand, draw 2 cards. You never know when that's going to come in handy. Only 23 total mana in here. I hope that's enough, especially with our treasure ramp. Of course, one of them is Crucible of Defiance. But guys, we're going to go ahead and save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video, so we'll talk more about the synergies there. Also potentially make some changes to the build before I upload it, so look forward to that. In the meantime, let's go ahead and hop into some ranked and see how we do. All right, we'll see if we can get right into that first game. In the meantime, what am I expecting from the build? I think it's going to be good, dude. Every single time I put together an Urabrask Storm deck, it's just like so surprising. No, I should say so shocking. Huh? All right, we go first. Okay. I don't know about this one, right? Like the triple play with fire, sure, that could keep us alive for a little bit against certain builds. Yeah, actually, I guess against any build, at the very least, we can get some scries off. Find the extra mana we need for the Crime Novelist. No, like, actual ways to get treasures on the board is concerning, but so many things to draw into, so many different filter cards to draw into as well, so actually a lot to consider there. Let's get that scry, even though I think the play with fires are going to come in handy against mono red. I'm going to keep that for now, because I'm afraid to send it and then never see my 3rd mana for like the next 8 turns or something, you know what I mean? The play with fires are going to have to be used as removal, likely. Commando's going to help them get around the 2 damage too, though. Okay. Invasion. Maybe we'll just go face again. So they didn't utilize the counters on the Kamano. They go ahead and show off a Phyrexian Dragon Engine. That's sick, dude. All right. Yeah, let's get the Scry. We still have one more play with another Crime Novelist. I'm actually going to send that. Yeah, no ways to get treasure in hand. So what we could do, we could play Crime Novelist, get that situated. And they likely don't take the turn to remove it, right? Like, they probably don't drop Lightning Strike. They'd rather get some creatures situated. And Phyrexian Dragon Engine doesn't have haste or anything fancy. Kamano does, though, and that flips next turn. All right, let's get Crime Novelist down. Yeah, maybe this was a mulligan. It was like one of those things, though. We still have a potential scry on the Play with Fire, especially if we see more burn to remove the Dragon Engine when it comes time. Really depends. Ancestral Anger is going to replace itself. Godric for the turn. Nice. Okay, that's a problem. That's definitely a problem. Got a block on the ground, I would say. Because we don't want them to flip that Invasion of Tark here. Yeah, I saw Dragon Engine and I was thinking, oh, well, potentially like mono red dragons, right? I mean, it still is potentially mono red dragons. Godric would fit that theme. More land. Eee. Maybe I should have sent that, huh? I say we go for the draw on the Ancestral Anger, as I do think we're in trouble as soon as they flip this Invasion of Tark here. More mana. Oh, no. Well, they're going to flip the Invasion no matter what next turn, right? Yeah, very likely. So I'm just going to go for the swing, as we are officially in danger. And we might actually just go for the scry on the Play with Fire too, as we are drawing very poorly overall, I would say. The 4 mana open. So if we would have kept Novelist back, we would have had them... We would have had them full swinging at the Invasion of Tark here, potentially, but we also don't know what's in their hand, too. They could drop their 4th mana, go Lightning Strike on Novelist, and still have the exact same swing. Blazing Crescendo. Very nice opponent. A little bit of a different version of Mono Red, and I'm not complaining. Nice to see. Actually looks really sick. And, like, even if we drew a little better, I think we'd be in some serious danger right about now. They still have 2 mana open. Alright, we're just going to go Play with Fire face for the sake of the scry, and we really should have scried that mountain away, but at the same time, I wonder how punished we would have gotten. So Lightning Strike doesn't do too much for us. I don't know what we're looking for, as we're probably going to die next turn. Charming Scoundrel. Okay. Well, I suppose regardless, a mountain will come down. I guess filtering the other mountain's fine. Yeah, that's totally fine. End the Festivities. Okay. Okay. I'm not convinced we would have had much of a chance this game, huh? We'll just play the End the Festivities. Just for something to do for the turn, right? We can also full swing. Well, I guess there's a small chance of survival if we have blockers. I don't think so, though. I think that Godric's going to flip, not flip, it's going to go into the air. Then they swing with dragons, and then they just poke everything to face, easy peasy. That's one permanent, so they can just play the Dragon Engine then for the second permanent. Or Monstrous Rage, yeah, that'll do it. They don't even have to ping. Dude, scary stuff, huh? Really like the opponent's red list here. One, like a big thing too, like Blazing Crescendo is so underplayed in red, for real. It really is. It's such a good card. So we can double block the etching, and drop the opponent the GGs. Oh yeah, man. So one noteworthy thing, and this was actually pointed out in the comments a few times, the Scoundrel, I called it filtering, but the Scoundrel's discard, that isn't like an extra cost. So you can totally draw a card if your hand is empty. It's just we couldn't play that second mountain anyways. But I called it filtering, and I guess realistically I shouldn't have. Onwards to the next one. Okay, if I see a risky hand, I'll try to mulligan, right? Every time I see something like that, though, I'm always like, oh man, we should try it. We should see what happens. Unless it's like really, really bad. Okay. Okay. Like the scoundrels. Okay, hold on now. I like this. I like this hand. And you know what? Maybe we're up against Boros, so maybe the End the Festivities will just devastate them. Oh, Battlefield Forge. I mean, we are seeing a ton of Boros. Oh, okay, okay. Storm-Carved Coast. Yeah, we're probably up against the Jeskai control then. The one with the dragon. Alright, we're going to send the mana this time. Now I'm just afraid of flooding. Okay, see, it's more mana. Good thing we sent it. So, Scoundrel. Set up with some treasures. Like, I don't know if we're going to need that much mana, but we could see, like, Urabrask off the top, which would probably not stick for the turn if we are up against control. And set Revelry. Okay. Back up to 20 for the opponent. Flick a Coin isn't terrible. Like the card draw. Continues the ramp. I guess it's going to be End the Festivities into Charming Scoundrel number 2. And now we're going to go for damage, right? So Wicked Roll. I think that's okay. Yeah, at some point, I guess, like, Sunset Revelry could hit the board again, and the Festivities is just always going to be good against that. Really? They must have missed their third mana, right? I literally, I can't imagine control conceding unless they missed that third. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way. Because we're seeing a lot of temporary lockdowns. Like a lot of temporary lockdowns. So if they were afraid of this being like a creature build, yeah, they had to have missed their third mana. GG opponent. That kind of sucks though, huh? I would have loved to play that one out because we were drawing much better there. Like much better. And in those first two games, you can totally see why we have all 4 Urabrask. Everything in here is built around that Urabrask and actually seeing it, actually getting it on the board to pop off with it. And so, like, even though it's legendary, if we go down to 3, you're going to see it even less than what we just did in these first 2 games, which was 0 of them. So, yeah, we want to see them for sure. We go first. All right. Yeah, dude. Now we're talking, man. Now we're totally talking. Play with Fire open. Commando. They have a Play with Fire card sleeve. So I think it's gonna be fellow mono red, huh? So like Play with Fire could be good to keep. I'm gonna send the mountain again, as now I am greatly concerned that the 23 is gonna continue to flood us. Okay. Demand answers open. Probably the Ancestral Anger. Even though that trample could be really good on the Hearth Elemental. Alright, we'll keep the demand answers open. Because as our instant speed things stick on their turn, it might change their course of action a little bit. Or they might play it out more cautiously. Doubtful, but you never know. Man, oh, okay. All that extra commando flipping is going to be a little bit of an issue. Getting that Hearth Elemental down sooner than later to block on the ground will be good. Okay. So they go for the swing on the Phoenix Chick. Comes on through. Demand answers. Yeah, it's going to be Ancestral Anger. Everything else in hand is going to be pretty good. Couple more Ancestral Angers. Ooh, and a Mountain too. Okay, well, Flick a Coin only does 1 damage to any target. So, because that counters on the Phoenix Chick, it totally gets around this. If we drop Hearth Elemental now, what's the odds of a Witchstalker Frenzy coming down and taking care of it right away? Hopefully low. 3 mana 4/5 is not terrible, dude. And hopefully it's just not a Witchstalker Frenzy style of deck. Although if you are playing mono red, I highly recommend at least one Witchstalker Frenzy. So we'll see, we'll see. Yeah, if this Hearth Elemental can... Oh, Ancestral Anger. Dude. Nice. And like a little bit of different versions of mono red. It's not bad. Not a terrible thing to see here. Honestly, with that, it might be a Blazing Crescendo list. Well, other Kamano flips next turn. They had 3 mana this turn, so if they had Godric in hand, I think Godric would have come down. We could take the 5 down to 11, as this feels like a combat trick, right? It feels like it's going to be a Monstrous Rage. I think we're going to have better blocks. I do wonder if there's a possibility of outpacing them as well. I think if we swing with Elemental, there's a chance that we die next turn. Oh, wow. Okay, okay. They wanted to keep that potential open for a combat trick instead of swinging with the Codebreaker. That actually makes a lot of sense since we had such a really good blocker on the board, which we are likely going to have to block with. Urabrask is a good draw, but now we need the 4th mana, which we could get with, like, Flick a Coin. We could draw into it as well. Keeping it back, though, for, like, a Phoenix Chick play or something. Give me 1 second, opponent. I am thinking, buddy. I'm thinking, do we even have 1 turn here? I wouldn't mind Ancestral Anger a couple times in a row for a swing. It's not like a Hearth Elemental has Double Strike or anything fancy, though. We could start with seeing a draw on the Ancestral Anger. Unfortunately, guys, I think we have to hold back. Keep the Flick a Coin, keep the blocker, and it's kind of a really awkward turn, honestly. Because yeah, if we swing, it could be good damage. What is that? Like 9 trampling on the Elemental? But then we just die. Because we're at 11, they have 9 on the board, prowess on the Codebreaker. Codebreaker, okay. Yikes, dude. Okay, so if Flick a Coin can actually land on that Codebreaker, it would be good, but I really doubt it lands. So let's see the swing. Oh, they're thinking. It'd be nice if they spent all that mana, and so that way we know the Codebreaker, well... Okay, they do swing. They have 1 mountain open. I don't think this lands on the Codebreaker, but it'd be silly not to try, as we're in just serious danger here. Yeah, the problem is, of course, they can buff another creature, and then the prowess still gets the Codebreaker above it. So that means we're dead. That's it. Oh no, guys. So we block the biggest creature and 9 gets through. Brutal stuff, huh? GG, opponent. It's good to see Codebreaker red. Yeah, a little bit different versions of mono red. Not bad, opponents, not bad. Oh no, I forgot to open my deck tracker for the video. Well, that's okay. We just won't play with it for now. That's totally fine. But this is like one of those decks too, where the deck tracker really would have come in handy, as we could potentially get a whole bunch of matches in, you know what I mean? Win fast, lose fast style. Leaning towards the lose fast style, apparently. Look at this hand, dude. What on earth? Okay, mulligan. Okay. I am greatly concerned right now. I am greatly concerned for how this one is drawing and everything so far. Plain Skrelv. Hi, buddy. I'm Novelist. Okay. Well, let's see what the opponent ends up doing. That play with fire is probably going to have to hit that Skrelv. Spiriting Companion, huh? Oh, boy. Lesney Enchantments is an issue. See what they end up doing with the Skrelv. If they swing, we'll hit it. I don't think we need... I don't think we can go play with fire to face. We've kind of been on the run. And if we let them keep Skrelv for too long, they'll be able to protect their bigger creatures. They go for no swing. Tough decision, guys, but I should hit that Skrelv, huh? Yeah. Yeah, we should we should get rid of it while we can. Especially like later on in the game when they go like with a little bit of a wider board state. I always forget about Skrelv after that point. Okay, Lightning Strike is available to remove something chunky. Yukai Naturalist needs to go right away. Calyx needs to go right away. Weaver of Harmony probably needs to go right away. Right? We should probably ping that. I think so. It's really oh no, guys. We're gonna try to find that mana on the Ancestral Anger here. Dude, we mulliganed 3. We mulliganed 3 Ancestral Angers away, and we ended up drawing 3. That's scary, man. It's actually, like, really bad. We don't have too many creatures in here. I think, like, 11 creatures total. Ancestral Anger really just trying to do the storm thing, but kind of feels like it's not doing the thing for this list right now. Okay, keep Shock open for the Calyx, for the Jukai Naturalist. That's very important. That was a good draw, actually. And then seeing some mana off the top would go a long way. Okay, so if they target the... well, they will target the Companion. I suppose we can poke Companion, take less here. Just like trying to survive as many turns as possible seems a little better than... oh, nice. They actually miss. Hey, 2 mana Hearth Elemental, huh? Look at that. Probably gets picked up right away. We could totally discard this hand and draw 2. See if we find mana. Hearth Elemental would cost 1. Nah, that's probably not the best bet. I think the best bet would be Hope Elemental survives. And then... oh, thank you, opponent. Hope Elemental survives, then drop a couple Ancestral Angers on it, draw that mana we need. Ossification. So since there were no creatures for the last couple turns, we can assume that the rest of the opponent's hand is just going to be removal for a bit, which is totally fine. Ichigo, Rain of Truth, flipping into a creature this turn. Catilda. Oh, that's dangerous. Oh, crap, dude. Yeah, that's really bad. Right, so let's see what we draw on the Anger. Lightning Strike. Wow. Well, let's hope they don't have like a Tameo Safekeeping or something. Lightning Strike's great, dude. We could potentially see... no, we can't. We shouldn't risk it. We should swing, see what they do. See what they do. Because we have Trample on the Novelist now too, so if they're like, oh yeah, we'll totally block with Catilda. Okay, so they are going to take it here. And we should do this before they draw. And hope that, yeah, hope that Tameo Safekeeping isn't... nice. Dude, hit the Catilda. They can put the Catilda back on the portrait, but that's still better than them doing anything else for the turn, right? For us. So Portrait swings for 6. Oh, maybe it's not. Maybe that was really bad. Well, I have no idea, dude. I really don't. Like, Catilda needed to go, but then they had enough mana to recast it anyway, so was that even good? Just like letting it survive, it would probably be a different enchantment from their hand. It would go up to 4. I don't know. That's actually really tough, man. I think we're stuck between a rock and a hard place regardless. So we're gonna do the thing. We got mana here, I guess. So auto pay, and then we get an extra red source, and hopefully it's something that we can actually play for the turn. Okay, Charming Scoundrel. We're actually gonna go card draw on the Scoundrel, right? This is really sick, dude. Like the deck just needs to... Okay, more mana. Like, we have really sick things going on here. We just, I think we need to see a better ordering right now, right? So maybe we're getting unlucky. You know, I really don't like blaming luck, so... Calyx. Oh, no. See, if we didn't pop the Catilda would still be flying in anyways. The Catilda would be their target for extra counters and everything too. So I don't know, man. Yeah, some of this mana early on would have been decent. We don't want to drop down to 22 mana. This is tricky, man. I'm racking my brain over here, that's for sure. Now, no matter what, though, Selesnya Enchantments is always really, really good, really powerful. So even if we were drawing well enough... Oh, no. Opponent. Don't look at my hand, opponent. It's embarrassing. Okay. Okay, good game. Good game. Get that swing on in. Get those quests complete. They dropped the GGs in return. So, yeah, if we didn't kill Catilda, we would have been in trouble. We killed Catilda, we're still in trouble because it's a really good card, isn't it? Being able to recast it back if they have the mana for it. And depending on what deck you're up against, right? If you're not up against a deck that has generic spot removal like Mono Black or something with their Go for the Throats, then Catilda could easily, or Catilda's backside could easily get over any of the burn that you have in the build. So very, very tough. Hello, opponent. What you bringing to the table, buddy? Go easy on me, man. I'm not drawing well right now, or at least it feels like it. All right. Keep it. No treasure generation. Big score, though. Chalk is open. Rakdos. Ooh, Harvester. Yeah, we'll pop that. That's a good hit. A really good hit. All right. Mana. As long as it's not my 7th mana, I'm happy to see it. Because now we'll have the 4 for the big score, and that's pretty huge. And if we have Crime Novelist down when we have that big score, you guys could see how that really pops off. Attempting the Lightning Strike now could mean counter, which means Crime Novelist has a chance to actually land. But I'm just going to hold back, because when you hold your instants and sorceries in a deck like this and then spam them all out after the setup, that's a little better. So we're just hoping for no counter. And then Crime Novelist has to survive the onslaught of spot removal that Grixis could be running. Okay, make disappear #1 out of the list. I suppose it's not too bad. Like, Crime Novelist isn't essential. We would be devastated if that was Urabrask, so we definitely have to play around more make disappears, as I doubt this is a one-of, you know? Oh my! Corpse Appraiser. Dude, we got some classic Grixis right now. I'm actually excited for this match. All right, Vein Ripper. It's not just classic Grixis. This looks like a vampire list, dude. 4th mana comes down. Big score's open. Lightning Strike can pick up the Corpse Appraiser. Wow. A really tough decision here. We can let them keep the Corpse Appraiser for the turn, I suppose, and we're gonna do the big score, I think. So let's just keep, I mean, these, oh man, but if they counter big score, if they counter big score, I changed my mind. We should do this on our turn. If that's what we want to do, we should do it now. And End the Festivities likely won't do too much against vampires, so that's the card we'll ditch. I think Flick a Coin's a little bit better to keep in hand and actually cast out. Yeah, see guys, like their blue source is tapped right now. If I waited for their turn and they kept everything open instead of playing something, then, and we discard for the big score too, like that would just be horrible. Okay, Shock is open, Lightning Strike is open. Okay. I wouldn't mind them countering the Lightning Strike for like anything else that we draw next turn. Like we could see an Urabrask off the top, for example. Surveil. This might be an Olivia style deck, guys. When they get to 6 mana, we should be concerned. For sure. Because they can bring back the Vein Ripper, which would be pretty wild. Alright, we'll spend our 2 mana. We'll try to take out the Corpse Appraiser, take a little bit less here. And if they counter the Lightning Strike, I think that's totally fine. No counter. They might want to keep the counter open then. It's a make disappear. We play around that nicely now that we have the Hearth Elemental. Too bad Ancestral Anger doesn't also give haste, but that would be pretty wild, huh? That would be... yeah, that would be too much, probably. Okay. 5th mana can come down successfully. We can start with the draw on Flick a Coin. We still have 2 open. Then we'll have... okay, so let's go Flick a Coin. Even though that's part of the Storm strategy, I just want to see more off the top here. If they counter it, I guess that's fine too. As that's their 1 blue source. For the top 5 cards. Oh, nice. Okay, so it's not a make disappear. But technically, Hearth Elemental would have still been able to play around a make disappear number 2 if that's what it was. Because we get that treasure, Hearth Elemental goes down to 1 mana. And then we still have 1 open too for Shock. I mean, technically... okay, they're going to go Blood Token. Get rid of the Vampire's Vengeance. I feel like we should be scared. Another mountain. Alright. Hold on. If we discard everything here and draw 2, would that be so bad? Would that be so bad? Use up all of our mana. Like, what's the difference of losing all this? I guess we don't get to filter out with the Ancestral Anger. Or replace itself. We lose 3, grab 2, but are they really that great? I think Hearth Elemental is going to die to spot removal right away. But I was trying to think of the best options for us. Because seeing more off the top, because like our hand isn't that great right now. And so maybe discarding the hand and drawing 2 on the adventure and then still playing Elemental for the turn could have been good. But right now, by keeping the 3, we could see other ways to filter off the top, like another big score, for example. Picklock Prankster. Oh yeah, dude, this is totally going to be a Reanimator style. That Vein Ripper is going to slam onto this board for sure. Celestis coming down. Oh, push and pull. Pull grabs 2 creature cards. Luckily, it's only for the turn. But that's really scary, huh? I'm going to keep shocking everything in hand. Mountain off the top, guys. Maybe we do got to go down to 22. This has been a rough time, huh? So we start with Ancestral Anger, and we're going to get a swing in. Oh, no. Another mountain. Guys, that's really, really bad. That's really bad. So they can block, just take the 2 here. Especially, like, they don't know what's in our hand. They don't know we're drawing this poorly. So I guess there could be wild explosive things. packed in here. Keep the shock open. We're like in danger, dude. Let's see what the opponent ends up doing for the turn. Because Bane Ripper can come back for the turn and swing. Maybe they'd want more big things in the grave, as right now it'd be probably Corpse Appraiser and Bane Ripper. They could go Blood Tithe Harvester, get the ETB on that. If a creature dies, target opponent loses 2 life. Okay, Pool. It's going to be Corpse Appraiser. Big damage for the opponent for the turn, guys. They gain haste. It's 9 swinging in. Now, when you sacrifice these, so that'll be another 4, right? So we're taking 13 damage for the turn, and they still have 2 mana open. Scary business, dude. They're restocking their hand with the Corpse Appraiser ability. Okay. We might need to shock the opponent's face without having any fancy business on this board. I mean, with this amount of flood, I don't know what's going to happen right now. So we're actually, yeah, we're going to keep the shock back, I suppose, because we do have so much mana. Sacrifice happens. So if they had generic spot removal for the Elemental, they would have wanted to do that while the Bane Ripper was on the board. Bunch of life gain from that, too. All right, let's see it. Mana off the top, guys. Oh no. At some point it becomes funny, right? That's a ton of mana. Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay, I think we can officially say that we're getting unlucky, that we're getting flooded out. I think, right? How many cards are left in the deck? 42. We have 9 of the mountains available to us right now out of 23. So half of the cards we have seen so far have been mountains. So yeah, I suppose it's a flood, and I really feel it. Oh no, another pool, dude. Opponent, that's actually really sick though. I can't even be mad about that. You know what I mean? It's actually really sick. Take my shock to the face. Haha. Yeah, cool deck, opponent. Really like the pools. Too bad we ended up flooding there, guys. To my surprise, the list isn't doing the thing. And every time we've played with Urabrask, it's just absolutely popped off, man. So I guess it was time. The game had to balance things out. All right, hey, Urabrask Storm. Here's the deck list again. What do we want to say about this? So if we look at the Urabrask, we can go over that bottom ability now. It's for 1 red mana, you can exile it, return it as the Great Work, and you can only activate it as a sorcery, and only if you cast 3 or more instant and or sorcery spells this turn, which should be often. Once you have Urabrask on the board, this deck is built to keep the hand stocked and keep the instants a-flowing, man. So just like have a whole bunch of extra mana all the time, which, guys, we have to talk about this 23 mana. The floods were real today, like real. So 22? That just feels so bad because big score is 4 mana. Urabrask is 4 mana. You never know how much Hearth Elemental is going to be. I think often you're going to get it down for 3 or less, but you never know. It could also be 4 mana. Probably not, though. Like 3 or less. Hearth Elemental is actually really good. Crime Novelist has such a big target on his back, and to my surprise as well, I thought we'd have more treasures than what we ended up having, but what ended up happening was we got Crime Novelist down, and then we only saw like our burn spells, and we didn't see a whole lot of our treasure. There was that one game where the Crime Novelist's extra mana came in, then we just ended up seeing way too much mana. So I already know what I want to do here. I want to drop a mountain, and I want to go up a way to see things off the top without discarding anything, and that's going to be like Ren's Resolve, right? Or Reckless Impulse. Reckless Impulse does the exact same thing. I'm just choosing Ren's Resolve because it's the newer one for now. So we drop a mana, go up Ren's Resolve. Now if we're not seeing that excess mana, maybe Ren's Resolve can help us find it. Maybe Demand Answers can help us find it. Like Charming Scoundrel helps us ramp. Flick a Coin helps us ramp. Big Score helps us ramp when it comes time. Now, at that point too, with 22 land, you're probably ramping into the Big Score with the other treasures as well. And you'd really like to have Crime Novelist on the board when stuff like that's happening, but how often are they going to let you keep the Crime Novelist is the question. Yeah, when the treasures are popping off against the right build, the extra counters on Novelist go a long way, right? If you end up popping a couple treasures, all of a sudden this has 5 toughness, that could be really tough for the opponent to deal with. And that's a very similar concept to Hearth Elemental, as we saw. Is being a 4/5 that we get down for cheap is just really good. I don't think we're going to complain too much if we drop a Crime Novelist and go up that 3rd Hearth Elemental. I want to keep the Novelist because it gives us that potential to have, like, to really just pop off and just go through the roof with our treasure tokens and everything. So I don't want to miss out on the explosiveness of Crime Novelist. It just felt pretty bad today overall, but I don't want to drop it completely. Especially since, yeah, a big part of this was having that treasure token theme in here too, with Scoundrel, Flick a Coin, Big Score. Okay. Also fitting that treasure token theme was Demand Answers, which we actually didn't get to see too much today, and we didn't get to sacrifice an artifact to Demand Answers. We ended up using the discard, and we discarded Ancestral Anger, which is a perfect discard, man, because we like having these in the grave, which just boosts the power of future Ancestral Angers, which ended up not really working out either because we don't have too many creatures to put this onto, and we were actually just really struggling to see anything meaningful, right? Like that one hand where we had 3 Ancestral Angers, and then in that game, we ended up drawing the 3 Ancestral Anger. Like, the game really wanted us to have 3 of those for that match, and then only having 11 creatures is actually really scary. That reminds me, guys, that's another change we got to talk about. Mirrex, there it is. Oh yeah, I don't think you're going to complain too much about having Mirrex in the mana base. It's going to be moments where, like, you need to do triple red sources on the same turn, but I don't think that's going to be too often. And then treasure tokens can help you do that as well. So I don't think you're going to hate the Mirrex. And then if you end up flooding out like we did today, at least Mirrex can generate some creatures for you, which then you can actually attach the Ancestral Anger onto as well. So you actually get a little bit of benefit off of the Mirrex tokens. Outside of that, I don't think it would be Foundry. Mishra's Foundry is one of those ones where if we wanted this, I would want 2. And I do think 2 is going to hold up a build like this every now and then. Again, you need to do, like, sometimes triple red sources on the same, sometimes quadruple red sources on the same turn. Hopefully the treasures help. But if you have a couple Mishra's Foundries, I honestly believe that'll hold you up every now and then. It could be really good, though. It could be. Definitely something to consider. I think as far as the mana base goes, it could be your decision entirely to add a couple Mishra's Foundries, drop the Mirrex, drop a Mountain. Either way, based on those games today, we definitely want the 22. Hopefully we still see enough mana to get to the Urabrask. Speaking of Urabrask, I've said it a few times today. I was like, dude, we need all 4 because we really want to see it. And it was a struggle bus to actually see this, huh? So, yeah, I still want the 4, I would say. But the deck is actually looking a little bit more messy than I would actually like. Messy in the sense, like, that's a lot of 3-ofs. Like, apparently we're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! For this deck. What could we do to make that look a little cleaner? If we look at the curve is definitely set up as a ramp curve. This is tough, guys. This is really tough because the deck significantly underperformed to my expectations. And so, like, what could we do based on those games to make it better outside of just dropping that mountain? I think this would operate better, even though it looks a little messier than it was before. I do think this would operate just a little bit better than what we saw today. That being said, it performed so poorly, I am going to have to put it up on Aether Hub as jank, right? Which my initial thought was I wasn't going to have to do that. Yeah. A couple other things too, like Flick a Coin had a lot less targets today than it usually has for me. Kind of feels like we should have seen more creatures with 1 power, or 1 toughness, I mean. We didn't see any Boros, did we? Oh, that's weird. That's really weird, actually. I wonder if we would have had a chance against Boros. Probably, but well, probably not if we were drawing that poorly, right? All right, guys. Hey, enough rambling, huh? If you made it this far into the video for real, y'all are champions. Make sure you check out that description where we got the Discord link as well as that Patreon link if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. Definitely let me know in the comments, what would you add or take out? What could we do here to make this a little bit more consistent? I think we could still consider dropping that other crime novelist. I'm personally not going to drop the last crime novelist. I want that one up. But if you guys do drop that, I think we could see, I think maybe the 4th Charming Scoundrel, right? Because if you're dropping a creature, you want to go up another creature. At that point, maybe the 4th Hearth Elemental too. At that point, actually, if you drop Crime Novelist, go up the 4th Scoundrel, you might be able to drop, well, dude, now I'm thinking, because, hold on, let me do this real quick. If we clone the list, that way I don't mess up the other changes, drop Crime Novelist, go up Scoundrel, then we could drop, since that's like extra early ramp with the treasure, we drop that Ren's Resolve that we added and go up the 4th Hearth Elemental. Now we have more creatures, 12 creatures. We have the Mirrex in the mana base. We have more ramp early on. And now it looks a little cleaner too. Ah, poor crime novelist though. I'm so sad about it. This looks better though, doesn't it? It totally does. Yeah, we should we should keep it this way, huh? But especially with how much of an MVP Hearth Elemental ended up being today too, and like how much we just weren't upset to see Charming Scoundrel like at all. Yeah. This is going to be a little bit better, I would say. Still going to put it up as jank, but it looks much cleaner as well. Okay, guys, this will be the final deck list that I end up posting, likely. not the other version. The other version looks a little messier, and yeah, the crime novelist probably isn't going to do as much as we would have hoped, huh? Okay, guys, hey, thanks so much for sticking around to the end. I hope you guys have been enjoying the more in-depth deck discussions here at the end of the video, and also just like enjoying changing up the deck. Since we play experimental decks, it makes a lot of sense that we would change it before posting it. So it's actually been pretty fun to think through and change up the list based on what we saw. So all right, guys, hey, I will see you in the next video.